Here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. For those of you who are just joining for the very first time, I've started doing these weekly Tuesday night conversations where we talk about topics that really matter to clinic owners. Anything from clinical decisions to business decisions, and I suppose the realities of running the clinic in this industry. And tonight's conversation is one I'm really looking forward to because we're stepping slightly away from that treatment room, and we'll be talking about something that impacts every clinic owner, the decisions we make when investing in our businesses. And in our industry, there is consistent pressure to keeping up new devices, new treatments, new opportunities, and it sometimes can feel like if you're not moving quickly enough, you're falling behind. But the question we don't always stop to ask is this actually the right investment for my clinic? So tonight, I am joined by someone who spends a lot of time helping clinic owners answer exactly that question. Marie Drever is the co-founder of Your Growth Coaches, and she has over 25 years of experience in the beauty industry and has run clinics employing up to 20 staff. Is that right, Marie?
Absolutely is.
Oh, great. I got that right. Marie is known for being the numbers and structure person in partnership with Jay, helping salon and clinic owners really understand their financials, their profitability, and growth strategy. Her growth focuses on helping clinic owners align their businesses with their decisions and their goals, their values, and their life they're actually trying to build, rather than making reactive decisions based on pure pressure or comparison. So tonight, Marie, thank you so much, and thank you for putting up with that very big, long intro.
I was going to say, that was so nice. I feel flattered.
No, it's the truth. But it is
Thank you.
you and I have had a few conversations and you've inspired me, and I had to have you on here. So thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I know it's 8 o'clock, but thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. It was exciting to be coming on here with you. So, yeah, absolute pleasure. Really exciting to be able to give any tips or tricks that I've learned along the way. I think there's lots of learnings as anyone has in our industry. So, yeah, really excited.
Oh, I think it's amazing. And I think what you do for the industry and the knowledge that you impart is like just amazing and fantastic. And it's very inspirational, which is in alignment with what we do at Tadley. We're, inspirational, motivational, educational. So the alignment was 100% there.
Perfect.
Apart from what I've just said, was there anything more that you'd like to add on to that?
Well, I think generally our industry is so evolving. Like it moves so quickly. And I think what you do, what your company does at Tadley, is so many of us are held back from so many things because we're unsure. And I think, there's tonight's conversation is going to be really good because it'll help them understand, why and how that they can get these items, pieces of equipment into their clinics, and maybe when they should do it. I think that's really, really important because a lot of people procrastinate and some people do it too soon.
Yep. And not only just the when, but if, maybe.
Yeah. Should I?
Yeah. So
exactly.
Great, thank you, and thank you for to Aphrodite, who's joining us, and Sophia and Sam. She's like my biggest fan. So thank you. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments just below there. We're going to try to get through the questions right towards the end. So, but for now, I have some questions for you, Marie. And I know you spent 25 years in the industry, and like I said, you've run up lots and lots of staffing. But one thing we see a lot is clinic owners making really big investments, in devices or in treatments or expansion because they feel they have to keep up. So from your perspective as a growth coach, what are the biggest mistakes that clinic owners make when they invest reactively rather than strategically?
And look, I think even around technology generally, it's powerful and it's real. It's the power of having the decision and strategically making it and not emotionally making it is so important. So I think some of the biggest traps that I see, clinic owners, they fall into buying equipment from excitement or fear. So they've seen it on socials, they've seen it at a conference. There's a fear of like missing out, a bit of FOMO. Everyone else has it, or the salon up the road has it. So I'm going to fall behind if I don't keep up with it. So the challenge around that whole device of, should I buy it? Shouldn't I? It's that trap sometimes that either holds us back or we're doing it just through an emotional decision. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things. There's not a lot of thought go into it.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and I think there's another moving part of it is, does it fit my client demographic? Because everyone's in different locations in the country, in the city, in shopping centres, and we've got to make sure that it's fully utilised. So it can become an expensive piece of furniture, and I've seen that in so many clinics. They have to have it and then it sits there. And I think, well, what are you doing about it? So it's something that I always encourage owners to really pause and ask, does this solve a real problem for my clients in my clinic or your guests, if you call them guests? Will my team actually use it? How much training? I know you offer amazing training. And does it fit the direction of my business? Because I think that's the big thing with when you're buying equipment, you've got to make sure that it fits into all the areas and all the facets of your business.
Absolutely. I think the demographic and mapping it out, like knowing what the investment is and what it's going to achieve, and is it actually mapped and suited to our client and what our client needs are, rather than being fixated on, like you said, the excitement or the fear. That's so true.
Yeah, and I think we see things everywhere, like so many social media posts, and you think, what's that machine? And you look and you think, I've got to have it. And I think, well, you've got to really make sure it does fit to your mould, I suppose, of what you're working towards. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the next question I think, I've got here is, you're known as the numbers person. I'm so not. I don't know. I get fearful of numbers, but you're known as the number person with your partnership with Jay. And many clinic owners will admit they too avoid the numbers. I think we just, we use that part of our brain. We're creative and numbers are just not our jam. So it's true, isn't it?
It's so true. It's so true. And I feel like around that, it is that creative mold, isn't it? Like there's so many of us that have such a creative side to us.
Yeah. And I think, we come into the business and sometimes it's by accident. It's not, we haven't thought of all the different arms of the business, and we need to look at social media and the marketing and, and the numbers. But with the numbers, why do you think so many beauty and aesthetic businesses struggle with the financial side of their businesses, and how does that impact the investment decisions that they make?
Definitely. I think one thing to clarify to start with, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper, but I was a business owner for 20 years. So the information I give you tonight is my learnings, and being a coach for the last 13 years, it's really driven me not only to turn my business around in 11 months, I doubled my revenue, but it has allowed me to showcase what I can explain to other people. And I think that was something that I had to learn early. So I think really looking at the numbers, my brain ticks a little bit differently to some. So even though I do have a creative side, I just have such a numbers brain, and that's not from anything that I know from learning it, like as an accountant or anything like that. But I feel like making the numbers itself feel not intimidating or dull is really a starting point, and that can be tricky for someone that's creative. They're like, ooh, I don't want to know it. Without clarity and having clarity, it makes us have like really reactive decisions, like trend-based investments, rather than having that really thought pattern around purchasing this piece of equipment that you're going to look at. So facing these numbers confidently allows like that strategic way and a purposeful investment rather than a let's just do it because I saw someone on TikTok. I think that's big. Scheduling, something that I teach in one of our programs is look, if you could do it weekly, it'd be good, but a monthly money check-in. So I call it a money power hour to align your business goals and your lifestyle. And I like to bring that into the conversation a lot because the reason you went into business majority of the time is to have an amazing lifestyle. It's like often we left a business to go and open our own because we want this amazing lifestyle. And I think it has to align with that a lot as well when it comes to the numbers and really making impact when you make that financial investment for your business. Yeah. I think another thing around anything to do with checking numbers and making the decision right is that we forget that we are meant to align and consume our life, not just in the business, but out of business. So I always say, try and treat your role like you pop the handbag on like your team member and you go and do your hours and then you leave and you spend some time working, whatever those hours may be, but a good 4 solid hours a week on strategy. And then when you're considering making, equipment decisions or new treatments that you're going to align with it, you'll have time to actually spend time on the bigger picture. So things like example, if I could just run through some examples, I want you to think about, does this increase your average treatment value? Because it will, but in what way? Does it create repeat like business, so like ongoing business? Another one would be like, does it allow the team to perform treatments rather than the owner just doing them? Because I see it often, the owner races often gets trained, but then the team aren't trained in the business. And I think that's not the right way to look at it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Like oftentimes when I'm in that training scenario, you do have the owner and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you have the receptionist? They need to talk about it. They may not perform the treatment, but they need to talk about it. And then why don't you have the rest of your team? And usually it's because they want the control. But I feel like it's that control that's actually bogging them down from working on the business.
Yeah.
They're working in the business.
That's right. And that also, that whole reliant on one person, whether it is the main therapist or, a dermal clinician, or maybe it's the owner, then the business just relies on that constantly. So really, you've got to think about the training that you're required to train the whole team, not just one person.
Yeah.
The other part of it is around the right investment. When we think about what it should be, it should support the revenue, it should support team growth, and I feel like it should also support the lifestyle of the owner, because if you're going to invest this money, what does it mean for your future? So it could be your future retirement, it could be your future, what's the exit plan? What's the future look like when you put this equipment in? Because this is going to impact your business massively.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And oftentimes people will purchase a device or even a range, even as something as little as $5,000. It's still money, right?
Yeah, it is.
And they don't actually forecast for it, or they don't have the clarity or the numbers around what they need to do to break even.
So, and I think there's a lot of people that rely on, and I say it in one of our programs that we do, an accountant is your tax or BAS agent that makes you compliant for ATO and things like that. But when it comes to your bookkeeper, and I love my bookkeeper and the accountant, they're great. Not many people do, let's just say. But the bookkeeper will do data entry. So they'll do your zero files, or they'll do your weekly wages. I couldn't think what it was, wages and things like that. They're the things I've outsourced for years. I remember when it came in, and this will show my age, 2020, wasn't it, Bass? And I never did one, and I've never done one today, but I can read one, like I can understand what bits of it and what, because I've had to learn it. And I think they're the things that you can outsource, but they're not the people that make the decision to purchase the equipment. You do.
Yeah.
So you have to look deep into your numbers to check all of that. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, I think it is. It's imperative. Oh, very good. We're getting into the nitty gritty now. So, Marie, when clinic owners are considering a big investment, like I said, whether it's a device or, expanding their clinic, hiring staff, because again, that's an investment with staffing, introducing a new treatment, what financial indicators should they actually be looking at to first determine whether that investment truly makes sense for their business?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's my favourite question. So, number one, without a doubt, is knowing your break even point. So, what does it cost to open the salon door? And I don't mean I think it's 12,000. You need to know exactly. Like I always say, it's got to be on the back of your hand, almost like you did at school. Like write it on the back of your hand. It has to be so clear. And if you have team and lose team and gain team and put product lines in or grow your revenue in retail, that break even needs to be looked at. There's so many moving parts across these days, like, your work cover's gone up, your super, your everything, every moving part of all of your line entries to do with costs, they're all going up. So I would say at a minimum quarterly, we look at ours on a monthly basis. Right down to, did we break even this week? How much did we increase by? And that should be a constant for every business.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think most, like you said, like they don't actually know that figure.
Well, and this for me is quite interesting. So in all the 13 years, I think Jay and I have been coaching, there's never been a salon owner, and I'm pretty sure I could say that for Jay as well. We've never found, including myself and Jay, that knew what our break even was for our business when we had salons, and we had to learn that number. I have a lot of people that have awesome partners that are in the background or accountants that have worked it out roughly for them. But when they go and do it, it might be 500 more or 1,000 more. It's often more than you think it is. And I think to know that quite factually, that no one knows that number very clearly, it's probably one of the biggest things to do first.
It's actually not as hard as they think, but
no. And we have lots of documents that can help them with that and, make it really clear. I think that the KPIs in your business are really important to know. Like example, the number of clients you see a week, does it fluctuate? The retail units, new clients coming through the door. And I did some examples around this that I'll share with you today, but I think knowing new clients and lost clients, that internal marketing is so important. And as subscription models or memberships increase throughout businesses, what's the goal around that and where do you want it to be? Because that can really change, those ongoing services when you've got equipment and people committing to those. I think that's important.
Yep. I'm going to throw you just a little curly one here. We haven't spoken about this, but memberships, that's a thing that's really taken off. How does that affect people's bottom dollars?
I feel like it's great in lots of ways. I was working with a clinic owner. She's in South Australia, actually two last week, and the two of them had, actually, I'll tell you about one. So she was a salon owner that would have pretty much sole operator and then started with the front of the house. So the revenue was good. It was coming in. But the changes that started to happen in her business, when she went on holidays, the revenue would stop. Right? She started to employ a team, but she was still the breadwinner. And I said, we need to get this, like, whatever you want to call it, subscription, membership, everyone names it different. We need to work on that and grow it. So she started growing from like 15, 25. I think she's got about 45, and the goal by the end of May is to get to 60. So we're setting those sort of short goals, small goals, stepping stone to increase it. She now has, I might get this not quite right, but I feel like it's 5,100 a week. So if she steps away tomorrow to go on holidays, she has reoccurring revenue at 5,100. Now, I know lots of companies have that, like Forest has it connected to their software. You can use a Glow memberships. Like there's lots of different platforms that you can connect that to. But that is gold because that stops that lumpy cash flow as well.
And is that something that you'll talk about in your programs?
Yeah, we do touch on it, or I'll help clients individually, like if that's a plan, or, everyone's at a different stage in business. So I think sometimes that's more of a one-on-one conversation of where they're up to and how they're going to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
And some people have it. So it's like growing it, isn't it?
Yeah, and nurturing and making sure that people don't drop off, I guess. So,
That's right. Yeah.
And look, and I know there's something else that you talk a lot about in your programs, and it's mindset, and particularly mindset about money, because sometimes it's not about strategy, is it?
No.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say it's absolutely not. No, I think I had to realise that myself a long time ago, that like I just felt there was this number. And I think when I speak to business owners, what I feel they have is, if I say, what's a good week and a bad week, I feel like they know that number. They'll say, oh, a good week is 12,000 and a bad week's 9. And I think, okay, and how did you rate that? Like, how did you work that out? Oh, I don't know, I just feel like I've got enough money. So when they feel like they've got enough money, it feels good.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a feeling, but they also have this like little bit like of a capped ceiling type attitude. And I learnt this off Jess, I'm going to say it, maybe her name's Pinilli. She was one of our speakers at our online events, and she talks about like the URS. So it's the unconscious revenue standard. And what that means is, if you took 6 months, I think you could take any amount of time, but say 6 months of revenue, and you divided it by 6 and you get a number. So let's just say that works out to 40,000 a month. That's your like unconscious revenue. So it's like a standard that you're actually prepared to just stick by.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the URS is something that we need to change our mindset around. So the reason we work on like mindset when we do a lot of our programs and through our coaching, the journey that we have with you in your business, is because mindset needs to come first, because we often have this installed in us from childhood. So those things where they say, what did mum and dad used to say to me? Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Or don't put all your eggs in one basket, love, like that sort of thing. Or, you heard it from maybe even grandparents that told parents, you have to work hard for your dollar.
Yep.
A penny saved is a penny earned. Like those sayings. I feel like it's when it comes into the salon world, I'm a salon owner, I'm a creative, so I don't really do the numbers thing. And then it's a little bit of people won't pay, high prices or premium prices in my area.
Really?
I'm in the country, so I'm not really, I don't think I could charge that. And money's hard to manage. So all of these things that we grew up with, they just come up constantly when it comes to even when you own a business, and it comes back and back. So you have to really think about changing those things that have been, I guess more than anything, it's imprinted on us from childhood, that come back to us as an adult.
That's so true. And I'm a bit like that old school, that mentality of just like, hey, let's just sort of like hold tight and don't overspend. But, now that mindset has changed, and it's funny because what you put out there you get back, and it's changed. But in your financial glow up program, you actually talk a lot about mindset, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
And about strategy. So why is that so important, and how do money beliefs influence the way clinic owners actually approach growth and spending and investment decisions?
Yeah, so I think when you've got a healthy mindset and changing your mindset, so thinking about what you can say instead of, and we teach that, because they tend to be, otherwise they're chasing like one-time sales, or, they don't trust their decisions. So they just, like when they prescribe the perfect treatment to someone, you go, oh, that's good, like it feels good. But they're not doing it to themselves. So they're making decisions that really aren't practical, and they're waiting for the win type of thing to come. So they're not making great decisions when it comes to being the business owner. They're making them on a whim type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. And the thought and the strategy is not really quite there.
No. So changing your money beliefs and really changing the way that like we influence them is to think differently. I think some of the examples that I could share with you, actually I wrote some down. I might just read it out because there was some number crunching I had to write down. When you do things differently, like an example is when you measure effective marketing, so acquiring a new client, say. So if you had like 10 new clients and you were to look at 10 new clients at your average client spend, but I just wrote down 150 just as an example.
Yeah.
If you had an average client spend of that and you gained 10 new clients in a week, they would spend $1,500. So if you times that by 50 weeks, that's 75K a year.
Yep.
Now, I times it by 50 weeks because I feel like they're closed for a couple of weeks with public holidays and things like that. So just in new client acquisition, you're gaining $75,000 a year.
Yep.
And then I think the other one is around like lost clients. So clients that don't return within a reasonable time frame.
Yep.
And we help them identify what that means or what time frame they should look at for their type of clinic or salon. And so say if you had 6 lost clients a week, which is pretty common to what we see, at $150 an average client, that's $900. So if you times that by 50 weeks, that's 45K.
Wow.
All right. I know. And the two of them together with new clients acquiring and lost clients, that's 120K, which is 2,400 a week. I had to read that off because I didn't know, I couldn't remember it all. But if you think about thinking like that and understanding that, one of the things that I feel, I have a lot of confidence around it, but I know that I can find in every business more than $50,000 hiding in their business. And what I feel like that really makes you think about changes your mindset around not only what you can afford when it comes to equipment, but $2,400 is going to pay off a piece of equipment, isn't it, per week?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is where looking at your numbers, you need to be like work smarter and work on the numbers that in your business so that you can say, well, look at that. Like I've worked on something and thought, wow, I can change this. Like this is really changing the narrative on how your outlook is on your business. And that's only 2 KPIs.
Yep. And the thing is, what you said before is you could find 50,000 in a business
Easily.
Yeah. I could do a lot with 50,000.
Anyone could. And when you dive deep on retail, you don't even have to go far to look for retail. Like there's always money hiding in retail. And majority of retail brands are 100% markup. So if you found, 40,000 hiding in a retail business, which is so easy, 20,000 of that's yours. So we call that a business within a business.
Yep.
That you can grow exponentially if you start working on your client journey.
I need you to find that. Oh gosh, I need you. Anyway, maybe I'll get you to be my coach.
Let's go through your KPIs and numbers. I'll find it, Nancy.
I'd love that. To spare 50K, even to spare 30K, geez. But I think this next question is going to resonate with a lot of people watching tonight, because many clinic owners are constantly investing in their business, whether it's, like I said, equipment, education, marketing, or staffing, but they're not always seeing the return they're expected. So, Marie, if someone was watching tonight feels like they're constantly investing in their clinic, but they're not seeing the return, what are the first practical steps they should take to regain clarity and start making smarter, more strategic business decisions?
Yeah, great question. So I would straight away just say, let's strip everything back and review numbers thoroughly. So it would definitely start with break even. We'd look at things like pricing for sustainable profit. So looking at all of your services for profitability. You want them to be at a minimum, like between 120 and 150 an hour at a minimum. And 75% profit margin. Sometimes that can be tricky and it can also be confronting for business owners to let go of things that might be, give you some examples, maybe some nail services are often not highly profitable. still seeing clients with doing brow waxes for $20 that when I sold my clinic, what, 13 years ago, I was charging 25 back then. I think, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like 13 years on and all the changes, and you're still sitting at such a low point just with a service that a lot of businesses that do a lot of maintenance beauty are doing a mass amount of, and they really don't have high profit on. So I'm not saying get rid of brows. I think you've got to be strategic on how you price them.
Yeah.
And there's ways to do that. Like looking at your turnaround times and how you've got your prices effective alongside that. So it's really getting that price for sustainable profit.
Yeah.
Measuring your marketing, like it's so important to measure internal and external. The lost to new, like examples that I gave you before.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is like doing all those things can be boring, but once you've done it, there's like this real light bulb moment that goes off and you go, I get it. And the right investment when you're making that strong investment in equipment, the outcomes of your business will completely change because you already knew these numbers to start with.
Yeah. See, and
Yeah.
it's just little tweaks, isn't it?
Yeah. It's little tweaks. It's little
Okay.
tweaks.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good. And they're like little nuggets of information, but if our, viewers want more, they can get more. We'll come to that in a second. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I think probably two things. I think the best growth, it comes from clarity, not chaos, because when you feel like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, I think when you're really clear on your numbers, you feel like the actions that you take are really clear. So you get that clarity. I think that's really, really important. And technology in our industry is just incredible. What you have is incredible. And clinics combining with the right technology and strong consultation, treatment planning, like business strategy, and really knowing your numbers, that's when these clinics just absolutely thrive. And we see it day in, day out. So there's businesses out there pumping, and I think you can be one of them too. If you're not there or if you want to grow from where you're at, you absolutely can. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yes, and I'm the same. If I can do it, they can do it too, right?
So true.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, Marie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think this conversation has been very, very and incredibly important for clinic owners to hear, especially with, like all the unsettling stuff in the background noise that's happening around the world. But definitely, they need to hear it. And because in our industry, there's also a lot of noise. It's not just around the world, but it's in our industry too. There's like all these, like I said, new devices, equipment, opportunities, and, the expectation that we have to be on social media and on trend. So yeah, definitely. But I think what we've talked about tonight is stepping back and just asking that, bigger question. Does this decision actually align with the business I'm building and the life? And I love that you say it needs to complement their lifestyle and add to the lifestyle, not subtract, from it.
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
I love that. So, is it actually, towards that their life that they're trying to build and create, or, is it doing the opposite? And I think that's where having that clarity around your numbers, your goals, and your strategy becomes so important.
100%.
Yep. So Marie and the team at Your Growth Coaches do some incredible work supporting clinic and salon owners. Yes, you do. With exactly that, helping them understand their numbers, shift their mindset around money, and make decisions from a place of confidence rather than pressure. So Marie has a program called the Financial Glow Up. Hopefully I got that right. Which is a 4-week course, online course specifically designed for salon and clinic owners. And over those 4 weeks, you'll work through things like, actually, would you want to share that? or would you like me to share that?
Yeah, you can share it. That's fine. I think you've got it there, haven't you?
I do. Shifting your money beliefs and mindset around finances, building confidence with your numbers, and understanding what to focus on with your accountant or bookkeeper, our best friends, learning how to understand your financials and break-even point, and identifying practical strategies that can increase profitability in your clinic. And what I love about this program, it's designed to help clinic owners stop flying blind and start making confident strategic decisions in their businesses. So if tonight's conversation resonated with you and you feel like you want more clarity from and around your finances and your business decisions, Marie will drop in the details, or I'll do it otherwise, for the Financial Glow Up program in the comments so you can take a look. What's the date of that program?
The 11th of May it starts. Next, we just finished the last one this Monday, so 11th of May is the next one.
Amazing. So they've got 2 months to get stuff ready and just to get all excited. But like I said, I'll put the link down below and they can look for more information there. So thank you so much. Do we have a question, Michelle? It's so much important information rather. Thank you so much, and definitely will be in touch, Marie, from Michelle. Thank you. Thank you, Sam, for watching. Samaria, all the way from Sydney. She said, thank you, my darlings. Absolutely wonderful. I'm sure she's sending her squishy hugs to us.
She will be.
Yeah, she would be. But thank you so much, Marie, for your time and for sharing your insights tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for listening, everyone. And have a great night.
Yeah, have a great night. And thank you to everyone who joined us. These conversations are always helping the clinic owners, grow stronger businesses and make smarter decisions. Next Tuesday night, I'll be back again at 8 p.m. and we're going to be going diving into LED. This topic comes up all the time. When do we do LED? What wavelength do we use? Do we do LED before a treatment or after a treatment? So I'm going to go through all of that and see if it will change your outcome completely. So if you work with LED in your clinic, this is one you don't want to miss. Thank you so much. One last thing. If you haven't voted already, and if you find these conversations helpful, make sure you vote for Tadley, the Australian Dermal Laser Institute for 2026 ABIA Wholesaler of the Year. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Have a good night.
You too, Marie. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.